Hello everybody, Jam here, and you join me looking at the grid for the first race at Yas Marina for this final round of the V8 Juniors Season 2 Championship. As you can see, Yami would be on pole with myself in second. We'd done a few practice qualifying together and it could have gone either way, but it was Yami who edged me out by about a tenth of a second in the actual qualifying. So here I am on the grid in P2 for the start of this first race, and we go, and I'm going to use the torque steer of the car immediately to slot in over on the racing line, tucking in behind Yami and just being able to try and get a nice clean run around the first corner, minus perhaps a little tap of Yami's rear bumper, and then a bit of a running wide onto the AstroTurf on the exit isn't really going to help either. Into turn 2, oh actually this is turn 3 now, isn't it? Very long right-hander there, very tricky to really perfect your line. Having a quick look back to see what the gap was behind us, and there's a little bit of a gap already, and Yami's already going defensive into the chicane before the hairpin. I don't know any of the corner names or numbers here really after about turn 3, so you'll have to put up with my very vague descriptions in this video. Around this very tight hairpin that leads us onto the first of the two back straights. It's going to be a bit of a theme in this episode, that I'm really struggling to get my power down out of that corner, but I'm sure you'll notice that as this video develops. Once again, we're going to be jumping to the start of lap 2, or near the start of lap 2, through this very same section. Had a pretty good run around the first sector, good run through the chicane, try and get a cutback on Yami after going wide on the exit, but my exit wasn't brilliant, and especially running wide and just tagging those curbs there, not particularly helpful either. I am a lot closer than I was on last lap though, so I'm going to be sticking in his slipstream and seeing if I can do anything down in towards the chicane. Once again, Yami's staying defensive and I try and go for a sort of cutback line, going very tight through the first sector, or the first section of that chicane, in order to get a good run through the second. But I mean, it didn't not work, but it didn't particularly work. The gap has stayed pretty much exactly the same through those two corners. Once again, Yami goes defensive, and I try and put it around the outside, but I kind of missed my braking point there. I wasn't really trying to make an overtake work around the outside of that corner. I just wanted to put my car on the outside to try and compromise Yami's run a little bit, and maybe just sort of keep the gap through that. But yeah, I made a mistake, and the gap has increased. So we jump now towards the beginning of lap 4, where the gap has just about come down a little bit, not perhaps as close as I have been at some points, but I mean, this sort of track, the gap is going to fluctuate quite a bit, and I am close enough for Yami to feel the need to go slightly defensive once again into this hairpin. Again, I get a bit of a cutback, but again, I just don't get the exit. I'm really struggling. I can't state enough how much I was really struggling with the exit of that corner. So we're going to fly down this very long first of the two back straights in Yami's slipstream? That's a new one. In Yami's slipstream. And another time he goes slightly defensive just to cover off the sort of dive bomb. And I try to go for a cutback through the chicane, and this time it really hasn't worked and I'm losing ground on the exit. So we cut to the last lap of the race, because the gap has stayed pretty much consistent throughout this entire race. Every time we've cut to a new bit of the highlights, you've probably noticed that it's just very consistent. As I said at the very start of this video, qualifying could have gone either way between us, and yeah, we were very closely matched throughout the evening. But getting that pole position, staying in the lead, it would be Yami that is leading going on to this and staying on this final lap. Not the best of lines through the chicane there for me, just sort of dropping over a bit too much onto the inside. Really going quite aggressive into the hairpin, not necessarily just going for a cutback, just trying to sort of disrupt Yami's line so he gets a worse exit. But once again, I mean, I just can't get a good exit, so we're going to be sitting quite far back as we head down towards the chicane between the straights. I kind of wasn't really bothering to go into Yami's slipstream a lot of the time, especially when I was sort of this far back, as I have been on this lap. You may have noticed that I didn't bother on lap 1, because slipstream does really nothing on this game, so I was only really bothering if I was right close anyway. Like about now, yeah, going down this second straight, if I was this sort of close, it might do a little bit, you never know, so it's worth a try. But I did do it on the last straight this lap, because it's the last lap, and on the last lap, you just got to go for a little bit of everything. Yeah, so talking about going a little bit of everything, just having a look around the outside. Didn't want to commit too much to it though, because I've already made a mistake there earlier in this race. Jumping over the curbs a little bit, it's very easy to do through that corner. I think both of us were prone to doing it once or twice just in order to sort of give each other a bit of room or keep the gap or whatever. So, but I mean, yeah, no, neither of us were doing it maliciously or intentionally or particularly gained anything huge from it. So we're into the final sector now, and I'm getting a pretty good run around that very tightening right-hander, and I'm right on Yami's bumper as we go through the first of the two left-handers under the bridge. Yami gets a little bit sideways on the exit. I had to get out of the throttle slightly just to avoid hitting him. And we're still really close as we head towards the penultimate corner. If we can slingshot round here, then we might have been able to do something, but slingshotting round the penultimate corner isn't something I was able to do. I made a serious mistake and just ran wide, and yes, I wasn't able to close up for the final run to the line. So we would finish the race and in second place, and I don't think I actually got the lead at all there, so it was just the first top two starting as we finished with no changes throughout the race. So that is Yami in the at the top step of the podium, winning the first race and closing the gap in the championship by 4 points. I know how the point system works. Yes, 4 points closer at this point, so he's got to beat me by 10 points now going into the final race. And we did have a quick look at the grid there, but it's pretty obvious where I'm starting. I'm starting where I finished the last race, which is where I started the first race as well, and that would be in second place. Not a very good start for me on this occasion though, getting a lot of wheel spin and still moving over towards the racing line, but not quite as aggressively as Ninetails behind me there showed his nose. Once again, I give Yami a little bit of a tap into turn 1. Perhaps he's being a little bit more cautious through there than I have been, and I'm going to stay nice and close around this first sector. You may have noticed throughout where the clips were in race 1, typically I was quicker than Yami through this first sector, and I'm going to try and show that by going around the outside and trying to get the inside here, but no, I'm not close enough. I had to back out of that one, otherwise there would have been quite an incident. But yes, it was through this sector of the track that I did seem to be quicker than Yami. Once we got to sort of this back straight, well, I've mentioned already that I can't get a good exit from that hairpin, and my poor pace sort of follows round until into the last sector, so I could sort of close up a little bit towards the end of a lap and then really close in right at the start of the next one, and so my best opportunity would be into that chicane and into the hairpin that leads onto this straight. But you know, best opportunity and actually being able to do something about it are two very different things. But on lap 1 of all laps into the chicane between the straights, Yami makes a mistake. He runs wide on the exit of the chicane and enables me to draw alongside. I'm briefly leading the race. As you can see, I'm in P1 at the top left-hand corner, but Yami's still on the inside. I'm going to have to go around the outside into the first part of the chicane. I cut the inside to give him a bit of room. He cuts the inside on the next bit to give me a bit of room, and we're still as we were on the exit. Yami's still just about got his nose on the inside for a very awful off-camber corner, which you don't really want to see stuck on the outside for, but I have managed to keep it just ahead after a tiny little bit of side-to-side contact, and then a really, really compromised line through the very quick and very tightening right-hander means I've really rather messed up the corner, and I would have led the race for all of, what, 4 corners before conceding the lead back into second place to Yami, and it's back as we were once again. Starting to get quite used to this being in second. So we're going to jump on to lap 3 into the same part of the track that I keep mentioning, and on this occasion I'm going to try something a little bit different and go up the inside. I'm fed up of getting bad cutbacks, so I thought I'd just go up the inside and see what I can do. I got it pretty stopped nicely. Yami allowed me a nice bit of room once I was there, but I mean, if I can't get a good run on a cutback, I'm not going to be able to do it on an inside line, am I? But I mean, we're still going to be probably closer than I have been on a lot of occasions when I have tried to cut back, so I am using the slipstream. Yami does stay quite far to the inside for a very long time, stays really rather defensive, and I shot out to the racing line and got quite a good cutback through the first sector, and I tell you what, after saying I was fed up of getting bad cutbacks out the hairpin, that was a great cutback through the chicane, and for the second time in 3 laps, I'm going to be leading the race. This is weird. Maybe there's something about the daytime that favours someone not from Canada. Is it dark up there? I think it might be. But saying that, I'm from England. I can't really talk about weather or climate. I don't know, I'm speculating because I've got not much else to say. Yes, keeping it clean through the rather tricky chicane. Getting a little bit sideways on the exit of the off-camber corner, and then we're heading towards this very tricky long right-hander where I lost the lead last time I was here, getting a little bit of a slide on the way in. Dropping down to fourth quite early, quite slow, really on the outside. Yami flies up the inside, but a little bit too exuberant there. He's not going to get that stopped, and I'm going to easily cut back for the race lead. Yami hasn't exactly lost a huge amount of time though. You did see him just show his nose up the inside throughout the first of those left-handers. Into the penultimate corner now, just trying to keep it clean. Not really the best line though, using a bit of too much curb on the inside and the outside, and Yami must have had a pretty good run because there he is, flies up the inside, tacks my rear a little bit, but I mean he went for the space and he really put himself through it, and that was a great move up the inside of the final corner. Not really a position you'd expect many overtakes to be done, but yeah, that was a great move. On to lap 4, the pit window has opened. Yami decides to stay out from the lead, and I decide to follow him. On to lap 5, the second lap of a 3-lap pit window. Is Yami going to pit on this occasion? I get very close through the penultimate corner. Yami stays in. I have a think about going up into the pits early, but I think I'd rather just have a bit of fun and try and get this done on track rather than get any strategy involved. I was also trying to play a few mind games with Yami, just jinking into the pits, but I don't think that's really going to work against someone like Yami. So on to lap 6, the final lap of the pit window, and we both do have to pit. Braking on the line as you turn in, using as much of the road as possible, but I turned in far too early for that actual corner and probably didn't slow down enough, so I may have slightly hit the tyre barrier on the way in. Now, my other reasoning for staying in, apart from the whole sort of fun factor and sort of it's the final round and I do have the upper hand, I can win the title by staying second to Yami in this race. So, but also I was kind of hoping that my pit crew might get the jump on him, a bit like he's got the jump on mine in Suzuka, but that wasn't the case. And as we exited the pits on lap 7, it would be status quo. We're going to jump a few corners later now, still on lap 7, heading towards the end of the first of the back straight. Once again, we're going to be very close through the chicane, and I get kind of a switchback line. Yami just tags the curb and gets a bit sideways, and I just hindered his run even more, and it made me run into the back of him and turn him wide, and I can't be taking the lead like that. It's one of those really unfortunate incidents. I had a great run. I was just about to sort of try and pull out and see if I can get past, but because he just lost a bit of momentum, I ended up making contact with him, and yeah, not a very nice incident, but fortunately it wouldn't have too much of a bearing on the rest of the race because we just slotted in as we were anyway. On to lap 8, and I tried to have another little bit of a move through the chicane, but as you can see, it really didn't pay off on this occasion. On to lap 9, and I'm holding a very tight line around turn 3. Yami runs quite wide on the exit, using quite a lot of the runoff area over there, and I'm going to try and go around the outside once again into this corner. I've tried it once, but I wasn't quite as far along as I am this time. I stay in it this time. I don't back out into the right-hander, but it didn't really work. I'm going to try and follow it up with a bit of a dive into the hairpin. I don't think that was ever really going to work, but it certainly wasn't as bad as it could have been. And I'm still not going to get a brilliant run onto this straight, but I'm not exactly a million miles away. So once again, I am going to sit in this slipstream, even if it doesn't do anything, and see if we can do anything at all coming into the braking zone. Once again, Yami stays to the inside, so I use the racing line and try and get a sort of cutback line. And there was a weird little collision there. It was a bit of a rub from my front bumper to his rear, but it doesn't. I don't think it should have happened quite as harshly as the game made it out there. I think it might have been maybe a little bit laggy, just as a. I don't know, but it wasn't hugely significant. Once again, we stay as we are. I tried to feign going to the racing line and then cutting back to the inside. It didn't really work. Yami has made a bit of a mistake though, and we're going to cut an apex each once again, giving each other a million miles of racing run. But after all that, we still come out the next corner in the same order that we went in, and the gap's probably about the same as well. I mean, it's been fluctuating between about 1 foot and 100 foot anyway, which isn't exactly the biggest margin, and so it's really hard to tell what has happened. I'm going to try and cut back to the inside for this apex, but Yami has it covered. He hasn't got a great line for the next corner though, and runs quite wide. I have a brilliant cutback line up the inside into the third to last corner. I get a little bit on the power too much though, spin up the rears, don't get the exit, and Yami cuts in front by the time we go around the penultimate corner. So we're on to lap 10 now, and once again I'm on the outside on the racing line while Yami covers the inside. I get a good run through this chicane though. I'm going to have another look at going up the inside because it's faring better for me in this race than cutbacks were in the last race. But I mean, look at that. That's just... I mean, at that point in the race, I said that was bad. That is so bad, I'm not going to put it in the video. But, I mean, you know, who are you if you can't laugh at yourself and look at your faults once in a while? So, yeah, that was probably the worst attempt at an overtake I've done this race. But on the very next lap, I'm going to try and do something similar. Look to the inside, feign Yami out, try and put him off, make him cover the inside when I was really going for a cutback, and actually try and get a good run this time. And it still doesn't work. I was really happy with that move. I went to the inside and made Yami covered it. I faked him out, I went for the cutback, and I still didn't get a good run down the straight. Oh, but we're on the same lap 11 now. I'm braking into at the other end of the straight. I was going around the outside. I was all locked up trying to get it stopped, and I mean, I've really messed up the braking zone there, haven't I? I went really deep, and as I cut back onto the track, I just about swiped the back of Yami's car. Fortunately, I think it was more front to rear as I swiped across rather than quarter panel. So, yeah, fortunately, nothing really happened there, but it was a little bit of a weird incident. Another one of my less good attempts at overtake. And once again, into this chicane. That is a weird-ass little bump. I don't know that an incident like that should have resulted in a bump of that veracity. So, I mean, it's annoying because I've gained through it as well. I don't want to gain through things like that. So I just sort of stayed far right-hand side through the next straight on this last lap now. I should point that out. I was sort of trying to stay in Yami's blind spot / just stay back and make sure I don't capitalise too much. But we are going to stay all very close around the next few corners. Heading into the very long and tightening right-hander now. I'm going to drop wide for a really wide exit. I'm going to cut back to the inside. I'm going to try and go up the inside. Yami squeezes into the wall. I ain't having any of that. I want a gap. I'm going to make one. I'm going to little bit of contact with Yami there. I'll go up the inside. I've got the outside now for the first of the under the hotel corners, but I'm out on the AstroTurf for the next one, and I can't get it stopped. And there's only 2 corners to go now. And Yami is still in the lead of this race. Can we do better around the penultimate corner than we did on the first race? Yes, I can. I haven't gone wide, but I'm still in second. And Yami goes defensive, but I'm going to go even further to the inside than he did. Fly up the inside, hit that apex. Another little bit of contact between the pair of us. But I do finally get a better run out of a corner than Yami, and I get to the line about a car length ahead of Yami. And would you believe it? I missed the bleeding podium bit on the recording, so I went and got one of me winning the race because, I mean, I did win the race. It should have been Yami second, and I think Blazer was third in this one. So I just put that in as a little bit of a spacer because now we're going to look at the results. And these are the results of round 6, with myself winning the feature race compared to Yami's win in the sprint race, and a second place in either or for each of us. I would top score in this round by 1 point. The amount of times me and Yami have been separated by 1 point over a round in this series is quite a few. So on to the overall standings, and with Yami failing to outscore me by any points in the end, I would win the Drivers' Championship. So yes, as you may be able to tell, I am very, very happy about that. It's been an absolute brilliant season. I've really enjoyed the racing in every single round. I mean, Suzuka was a bit of a downer, but that went down as a drop round anyway. And yeah, it's just been really, really fun. Congratulations to everybody else that's done even half decent in this series. Ninetails third, Udefty fourth, Blazer fifth, Hordes was great in sixth. Unfortunately, he couldn't make more rounds. But yeah, and everybody else in the drivers as well. And on to the teams, and could it be any closer? Yami may well have missed out on the Drivers' Championship, but he and Mugen pipped Shell Oil, which is Blazer and Ninetails, to the Teams Championship by 1 point. So congratulations to Yami and Mugen there. And third place was Dabba Dabba Die, which is Rabbit and Udefty, my team, coming home in fourth. So that is it for this series. I have absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it, and I suppose winning makes it feel quite good as well. So I had to go and do a few celebrations. And yeah, so that is it, not only for this episode, but for this series as a whole. Next time there's a series that I'm going to be filming all of, I will be sure to let you know, and I hope to join you for that one at some point in the future. But until then, thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.